The last week of Young Thug's life has been far from easy, especially yesterday at the time of this recording. Before sharing exclusive footage from his latest court hearing, here's how his week started. On May 27th, Young Thug was denied bond at a court hearing. Young Thug's lawyer is claiming that Thug's living in non-livable conditions inside of Fulton County. He states the YSL honcho is being held in total isolation in a windowless cement compartment with only a bed and a toilet. He adds the jail cell has an overhead light that remains on 24 hours a day, preventing Young Thug from getting any sleep. Further, Steele says that Young Thug has no access to the media or any opportunity to exercise, shave, or have any human contact. And don't get him started on the food menu. According to his attorney, Young Thug is getting a tray of inedible food. Steele included quotes around the food sarcastically. Now, while it sounds like he's describing a stereotypical jail cell, Steele says the conditions violate Young Thug's constitutional rights, in particular the 8th and 14th Amendments. Now, this didn't settle well with the Fulton County General. Fulton County prides themselves on providing livable situations for all inmates. This is when they shared these photos of Young Thug's jail cell on live TV, exposing all of the negative claims by Young Thug's lawyer. Young Thug lives alone in this jail cell from all other inmates. It includes an average sized cell, private bathroom with a small wall blocking it from the door window, as well as a mattress to go over the steel bed frame. The mattress he only gets at nighttime, as the law enforcement do not want him sleeping all day. Now, law enforcement had enough. It also works out as the feds are moving Young Thug to avoid any issues with rival rapper YFN Lucci, who is in and out of Fulton County pretty often. Now, there was also one more reason why he was moved to Cobb County. In court, it was announced that Young Thug and his YSL associates are responsible for over 50 passings of rival street members, as well as active instances of firearm use in the public. The Fulton County District Attorney, Fannie Willis, spoke with the local Atlanta news station, adding that the indictment reportedly includes allegations of 3 passings and dozens more. One passing has been identified as Donovan Thomas. Young Thug is accused of renting a 2014 Infiniti Q50 sedan from Hertz that was used in the passing of Donovan Thomas. They add, Thomas's passing is extremely significant. Willis said, it occurred back in 2015, and what myself and any law enforcement member can tell you that as a result of the back and forth firearm use, many passings have occurred. There has probably been about 50 since 2015. Now, this is all from the back and forth between YSL and other street teams. Young Thug is not accused of being the main person in these passings. The rapper's lawyer, Brian Steele, is pushing back all claims against his client, stating, Mr. Williams has committed no violation of the law whatsoever. Steele told XXL in a statement last week, we will fight this case ethically and legally. Mr. Williams will be cleared. Now, with serious allegations of Young Thug and YSL being responsible for 50 passings, there's zero chance the YSL rapper will get released on bond. Now, with Young Thug being transferred from Fulton County to Cobb County Jail, this is where we see Young Thug getting comfortable within the county jail, where he had his most important court appearance of the case so far. Now, on June 2nd, it was announced at Young Thug's bond hearing that there's members of YSL snitching on Young Thug. It was also announced what was found in the YSL mansion during the raid. Here's clips of the latest hearing.
He's the one directing traffic. He is the one they're all afraid of. He's the one that's king slime. He is the most dangerous of the 28, Judge. And I implore you not to grant him a bond. He is dangerous. If he gets a burner, Judge, and the court may know this, a lot of the communications that Mr. Williams is on FaceTime, because it's not traceable, it's not trackable. Judge, I will also say that we have taken proffers from fellow from Mr. Williams. Some are on this indictment, some are not. They have stated uniformly that Mr. Williams is dangerous. They are afraid of him, that if they cross him, he will them and their family. And they were very clear about that.
Concerns that this court has is danger to persons and to intimidate other witnesses and obstruct the administration of justice. So I And for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time.
The prosecution in the Young Thug RICO case has now revealed proffers from members of YSL that name Young Thug as the head of the organization. To simplify, it means a few members of the 28 arrested at the YSL mansion are now creating deals with law enforcement and snitching on Young Thug, giving them information about YSL and on Young Thug in exchange for a lesser sentence for themselves. Now, once this news broke out into the streets, members of YSL that aren't arrested right now were caught trying to delete evidence from the case. No Jumper reported a YSL member was caught on an illegal cell phone trying to get someone on the outside to destroy evidence in the Young Thug RICO case. Now, the county jail inmate that was using the illegal cell phone inside of jail actually came from the famous drone delivery. Many parts of the evidence in this case are now starting to piece together, as last week it was reported this evidence in the courtroom. Garlington and Quantavius did unlawfully commit the felony offense of conspiracy to possess telecommunication devices by an inmate. While speaking over a cell phone to an incarcerated Fulton County jail inmate, they discussed a plan to fly a drone carrying a cell phone beyond the guard lines to a window at the Fulton County jail. Now, it's no secret that Young Thug was being jailed at Fulton County. Was the delivery for him, or was it for the other 28 members of YSL that were arrested? But just to simplify what this evidence means, associates of YSL made a plan to fly cell phones taped to flying drones over the fence at Fulton County. Now, when this happened, law enforcement actually watched the drone fly in. Rather than stopping the drone and confiscating the cell phone, they allowed the phone to be delivered to inmates, as instead, law enforcement would just wiretap the phone and gain information on inmates' cases. And with super creative police work, law enforcement tapped this phone and gained information on the YSL case. Now, this court hearing that Young Thug had today revealed even more concerning things about Young Thug to end off his week. During the hearing, prosecutors learned from YSL members that snitched how Young Thug would run his operation. You're not gonna believe what they said. So when Young Thug wanted a job done that's street related, he would end up buying cheap iPhone burners. Whether these iPhones were stolen from just on the streets or he buys them in bulk, he would use these iPhones to direct his troops, as titled by the prosecutors, to handle all of his business. He would use these iPhones in a very creative way. It turns out law enforcement and cell phone providers cannot track or listen into FaceTime calls. Young Thug would use FaceTime on these iPhone burner accounts to FaceTime his troops to handle business, whether it's things street related or even pick up firearms. FaceTimes are completely hidden from the feds, even if the iPhone is tapped. When this information was shared with the courtroom, this is where you see Young Thug beginning to pray during his court hearing. He was praying for the prosecutors to lighten up on him and hopefully get released on bond. Well, the prosecutors say there is no chance they can give Jeffrey Williams bond. During the YSL mansion raid, where Young Thug lives, there is GTA-type firearms found within the household. Firearms that law enforcement didn't even know how he would even get them. They used this to their advantage against Young Thug during the hearing, telling the judge he cannot allow Young Thug, the leader of YSL, to be near these firearms, and he cannot be allowed on social media, as he could then direct the rest of the YSL troops to commit acts on the streets. Now, according to law enforcement, both rappers Young Thug and Gunna are among the 28 named in the Fulton County District Attorney's indictment for RICO. But Young Thug and Gunna are the head honchos of the YSL group, making sure all of their troops handle business. And due to this, during the court hearing, this is where law enforcement then announced another 7 additional charges against Young Thug. These charges are for narcotics and firearms that were all found inside of the YSL mansion. Young Thug's lawyers tried negotiating the state's decision on Young Thug being denied bond. Judge Wolf finds the rapper to be a flight risk, as well as a risk of interfering with the RICO case, and even a risk of committing more felonies if released. arrest. Now that court hearing was easily one of the roughest court hearings for Young Thug so far. But sadly, one of the biggest moments of Young Thug being stuck in jail was when Lil Keed sadly passed. Lil Keed did not pass within the last week, but it's important to know how Young Thug is doing about it. Young Thug's reaction to the passing of Lil Keed goes as follows. Lil Got It posted this saying, "Just talking to Young Thug yesterday. Keed, you messed him up with this one, but we know you're guarding him through these times and you're gonna make sure that he's gonna be alright. We the proud family, can't nothing stop us." Now with the passing of Lil Keed happening a few days after 28 members of YSL, including Young Thug and Gunna, were arrested for RICO, many people couldn't believe it. This is where we even saw viral tweets saying, "There's no way Young Thug, Gunna, and most of YSL gets arrested, then Lil Keed passes. Something's going on, bruh. YSL is being targeted." I'm curious to know where you guys stand on them being targeted. Let me know down below in the comments. It's been District Trending and I'm out. Peace.